State regime media known as Fox is in complete meltdown mode as the markets are crashing. What do you think state regime media, aka Fox, is talking about? Well, they bring on MAGA Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville, who says there's a crisis happening right now. All of these men's college teams are being taken over by trans people. The trans people are conquering the men's sports teams. It's a crisis, everybody. This is really what they're talking about on Fox right now. Play this clip.
Why don't you give me a chance? That's exactly what's going to happen. Jackie, we have entire men's teams across this country now that are turning trans.
Yeah.
Women's teams, they're turning trans. And that's going to be a situation where it's going to pick up speed because these woke globalists are pushing these kids to say, if you can't compete in men's sports, let's just transition and say you're a woman and participate in women's sports. It is dead wrong, and we've got to stand up against it. But the Democrats, they're all in.
How utterly ridiculous and despicable is this coverage that we're seeing on state regime media known as Fox right now? By the way, I mean, a lot of the stories that they're running, trans this, trans that, Biden this, Biden that, people should have known that Biden was old. I mean, they're running a ton of stories like that. Then they bring on MAGA Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin from Oklahoma. He's asked about the tariffs, and the way he frames it is, look, Donald Trump's always been talking about this since the 80s. So this has some historical precedent. Well, listen to me, Markwayne Mullin, you idiot. Just because Donald Trump has talked about it for a long time doesn't make it less stupid and idiotic and dangerous. Play the clip.
And President Trump has been talking about this since literally the 80s, way before he was even considering running for president. And so he understands what's going on. And when are we going to fix it? If we're not going to fix it now, Shannon, when are we going to have the backbone in this country to fix it? And now is the time to do it. And I trust President Trump and his leadership in doing so.
So you've been a consistent...
You know, Markwayne Mullin, you and your MAGA Republicans may want to actually go and check Donald Trump's business history throughout the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. If you look at Donald Trump's recent SEC filing, it's easy to read. There's a whole section about Donald Trump's bankruptcies during that period of time. There's a reason that he's bankrupted his companies, because he's an utter idiot in everything he does, and a dangerous one at that, and all he cares about is himself. So he screwed over all of his lenders. He's screwed over all of his investors, but he's managed to find ways to wiggle out and make money for himself. He's doing the same thing with the American economy right now. And by the way, do you see what these MAGA Republicans are doing right now? The leaders are going around Congress, and the leaders of his agencies are wearing Trump pins on their lapel. Are you seeing this? They're wearing Trump gold, fake gold pins with Trump's face on it. What an idiotic death cult we are living through. Speaking of idiotic death cult, here's one of those leaders, Peter Navarro, MAGA Republican, who is one of Donald Trump's top economic advisors. This is one of the guys responsible for the Green Bay sweep in the insurrection to try to overthrow the results of the 2020 election. He's fresh out of a jail sentence for contempt of Congress. Here he is saying, you can't lose money if you just keep your money in the stock market. No one's going to lose money. Everybody's going to get rich. Peter Navarro, play this clip.
Out there and the volatility, do you expect it to continue? Because everybody keeps asking me if I think the market, where I think the market's going to open on Monday.
Sure. The first rule, particularly for the smaller investors out there, you can't lose money unless you sell. And right now, the smart strategy is not to panic, just stay in, because we are going to have the biggest boom in the stock market we've ever seen under the Trump policies. We will find a bottom in this market quickly. We will hit 50,000 on the Dow easily by the end of this term, and I have credibility on this. I remember, Jackie, the day after the election in 2016, I went on another network before the market opened. Futures were headed dead red down. And I talked about how tax cuts and deregulation and fair trade and strategic energy dominance would actually give us a boom. I said we'd hit 25,000 on the Dow, and all of that came true. We hit...
Utterly ridiculous. Here's Navarro again and saying, you know, this is my Navarro impression, you know, The real issue here is the media, okay? The media, there's a cognitive dissonance, and the media is causing the recession. The media keeps on saying recession, and that's what's causing it. Oh, well, that's what's happening. Here, play this clip.
Yes, and let's not forget every economic report that's been coming out in the last month has been pushing us towards expansion and strength. I mean, we just had a blowout jobs number on Friday. You had 228,000 jobs. It was 50% higher than was predicted. So again, there's cognitive dissonance between what the media is saying, want us to push us into recession, and what's actually happening. I think you're right, Jackie, that the tariff and trade policy is just one chapter in a book that contains all these other beautiful things that we're going to do. If you just take, for example, the oil prices. Oil prices were $1 higher during the Biden years. For a commuting working family, that's about $1,000 worth of gas, the prices they had to pay. We're going to get that back for them.
No, Peter Navarro, what's happening is Donald Trump tariffed the entire world. He declared a trade war on the world, including islands inhabited only by penguins and islands inhabited only by U.S. military bases. He put forward a fake, ridiculous, stupid formula that isn't even what it says it is to tariff all these countries. He claims it's reciprocal. There's nothing reciprocal about it. Other countries are now hitting back with their own tariffs and retaliation, and Trump's crashing the global markets. That's what's happening. We're reporting on what's happening, you moron. I mean, these MAGA people are just the worst at literally everything. Speaking of which, back to Mark Wayne Mullen. And here, Mark Wayne Mullen, this is what the MAGA Republicans are going with. We don't need access to China's economy to keep our economy moving. So they went from, Nixon visiting China, trying to open up the economy, and now their position is, let's just not do business with China at all. Really, that's going to make sense. How do you think your iPhone is made, by the way, Mark Wayne Mullen? You see the recent assessment by Fortune magazine of if you were to assemble an iPhone in the United States, like all of these MAGA Republican surrogates are saying this is what they want, you know what it would cost? $30,000 per iPhone in the United States if the whole assembly process was made in the US. But go out with your stupid ideas the same way y'all are the same people who told us to inject bleach in our arms and veins during COVID. Play this clip.
Well, we actually do have rare earth minerals here in the United States. The problem is because of the environmental movement that we have, we can't mine them. As far as access to economy, China has to have access to our economy. Over 40% of the goods that are manufactured in China are sold here inside the United States. We have a huge trade deficit. We don't have to have access to China's economy to keep our economy moving. The reason why the Belt and Road Initiative exists is because just a few years ago, 75% of the manufacturing goods in China was sold inside the United States. What China is trying to do is diversify themselves by forcing other countries with the Belt and Road Initiative to do business with them by getting them in debt and forcing them to trade with them. The Belt and Road Initiative is a very big problem we have around the world, and you see countries that are pushing back because of the pressure that China is putting on them once they get them in debt. So you have two different things colliding here. What we're trying to do, and what the Republicans are trying to do, working with President Trump, is balance the unfair trade indifference that is going on, and the countries are taking advantage of us. And this, as I said before, Shannon, this is the perfect opportunity to do it because we have a business person that understands the market like we've never had before in the White House, and that's President Trump.
Well, he seems to.
And then we've got the cult in action right here. Tommy Tuberville saying, thank God Donald Trump has common sense here. This is great, he says. He goes, for Tuberville, he's getting paid. He's a federal worker. He's getting paid by us. This is amazing. Everybody's thriving. Thank God for Donald Trump right now. That's what these surrogates were out there saying. Play this clip.
So what does it spell for us? We don't have national security. Look what happened in COVID. We don't make any drugs in this country, and we were dependent on China. We cannot allow that to happen. Thank God President Trump is using some common sense here and getting the American people and the United States back on track to being self-sufficient.
So then Tommy Tuberville attacks Wall Street. Play this clip.
Now, the market is concerned, traders are concerned that the retaliation we saw on Friday could turn into a full-blown trade war. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, Wall Street's one of our biggest problems. They're the ones that's really standing up and pushing back against President Trump. Wall Street and the globalists, they do not want change. They want it to stay business as usual. We cannot stay business as usual in Washington, D.C., nor with President Trump, nor the American people. We have to change course, and we have to build a different team in this country. If we don't do that, it's the only chance we have of surviving like we had an opportunity the last 249 years.
Yeah.
So it's time the American people took care of our own business and not be dependent on anybody else.
A final question.
Oh, by the way, you want to see the funnel of state regime media to Trump, Trump to state regime media? You have Mark Levin. He's a host on Fox. Is how he talks. I'm Mark Levin. This idiot's been wrong about everything his entire life. And then Mark Levin, and Trump posts Mark Levin, tells everybody to watch him. And Mark Levin's like, this is exciting. This is an exciting time to be alive. This is history. Trump standing up to Wall Street. This is exhilarating. Here, play this clip.
He is doing something that's never been done. And it's actually quite exciting and invigorating. Will there be a period of difficulty? I suspect there is. But a lot of that is the layover from the Biden regime, which spend like a bunch of drunken Marxists.
You know, people like Mark Wayne Mullen and people like Mark Levin and all these people who work on Fox also. Like, I get it. Like, y'all are millionaires. This doesn't matter to you. You'll hold on to your money while people's life savings are being screwed. But you know what? This is impacting Americans very, very badly right now. It's not exhilarating, Mark Levin. It's not exhilarating. It's a freaking nightmare right now. Speaking of nightmare, Howard Lutnick. I just want to show you the Howard Lutnick two-step so you can see what he says to Fox and then what he says to audiences, like when he goes on CBS's Face the Nation. So here's Lutnick. I want to show you what he does on Fox after this so you see the manipulation. So here's Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary. Here he goes, look, what we want to bring back to America is to create an army of millions of Americans screwing the little screws to make iPhones. We want to make the iPhone manufacturing here in the U.S. away from China. We want to put Americans on the iPhone assembly line instead of what the high-paying manufacturing jobs that Biden was bringing. Listen to what he says here. Play this clip.
Great American workers. You know,
you
we are going to
robots
replace
on other
the
networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America, our high school educated Americans, the core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
Are you?
I wanted to show that to you because the night before he was on Jesse Waters saying that what he wants to do is replace cheap labor with robots here in the United States. So you see how... So on the one hand, you want Americans to do the cheap labor of putting screws together with an iPhone, but here you are on Jesse Waters saying that you want robots to replace humans. Play this clip.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about returning here?
Well, You can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain. But
now I want to show this to you as well. You have billionaire Bill Ackman, one of these like oligarch, he's like an oligarch bro who's like a Trump supporter. It's like, I used to be a Democrat, now I'm an oligarch bro and I'm a billionaire. And so this guy was like as Trumpy as you can be. And so he's been like posting over and over again in the past 24 hours where he's like now saying Trump screwing the economy, basically, where I'm so shocked what's happening. Here's exactly what he says. To state the obvious, it does not help our countries and our president's negotiating position to trying to strike deals while our market is collapsing. He goes, if you haven't noticed by now, I speak the truth regardless of the consequences to me personally or what other people think. Then someone goes, good job speaking out, but it seems like you should have foreseen the chaos. Your anger towards Dems clouded your judgment. He goes, I have no anger towards Dem, just disappointment. I don't think this was foreseeable. I assumed economic rationality would be paramount. My bad. Yeah, you're bad. My bad. Must be nice to just be so rich where you go, my bad. You know, this is the MAGA Republicans' views. My bad. Donald Trump's out there golfing in Mar-a-Lago and like his own golf tournaments and he's winning and he's claiming he's lying and saying he's winning his golf tournaments and Americans' retirement accounts are getting wiped out. My bad. My bad. And he responds to this. True. Why markets are crashing? They lied about tariffs. The Trump regime lied about tariffs being targeted and reciprocal. None of the math makes sense, and it lacks intellectual rigor. When Trump said 10% on all nations, the futures rose 1.5% on that news. That win would have raised the $600 billion he wanted and encouraged companies to reshore. But instead, he took out that, I didn't even know they were going to say this. I mean, you can't even read this stuff. The F word, R word, scatterbrain math, that was arbitrary and nonsensical. That is why markets are crashing. Why do they have to say the R word all of the time, these people too? F this, R that, just the worst. And anyway, he's been having a meltdown. But here he was on Fox in December of 2024. So just so you could see what he was like then, play this clip.
We're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime, certainly. We just had a nice little ceremony and, CEOs of broad array of, big American companies, and I would say everyone is incredibly enthusiastic, really about a new administration that's about efficiency, removing the impediments to growth, deregulation.
I may also just show you what Jesse Waters has been doing over the past 24 hours as well. Here's Jesse Waters saying again, Donald Trump staring the Dow in the face as it crashes, golfing, saying he doesn't give an F. Donald Trump is showing true power by saying he doesn't give an F as the markets crash. This is actually what they're saying on Fox. Play this clip.
Trump's trade war is high risk, high reward. But he's not biting his fingernails, staring at the Dow. Today, he actually played golf, which if Biden had done, I definitely wouldn't have criticized him for it.
And here he is again saying the same message. So you see over and over again, this is just what they're doing. Play this clip.
Now, I'm only in my 40s. I know I look a lot younger. But I've never seen a president stand up to Wall Street. Have you? Trump just stared the market right in the face while it sold off 4%. It's like sending your screwed up son to a military academy. You know it's going to hurt him at first, and he's not going to like it, and it's going to be painful. But in the long run, it's going to make him a man. The right thing to do isn't always easy. It's easy to do nothing and keep the country crumbling and let the next generation handle it.
That's what's going on Fox. So when I say Fox is melting down, this is some of the most ridiculous propaganda that's out there. Again, let's do it this way. I don't care what political party you're from. How could you watch what I just showed you and be like, oh, I guess that's normal. I guess that's normal. Okay, that's news. No, it isn't. That's the most ridiculous stuff ever. Folks, wake up. Wake up. This Trump regime is toxic. It's the nicest thing you can say. It's like intentionally malicious destruction of our country. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Also, check out store.MeidasTouch.com. Have you seen the Meidas merch? Store.MeidasTouch.com. It's some cool stuff.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.